Hi friends, today we're going to be talking about the donkey tail plant, also known as Burro's tail or Sedum morganianum. This plant is absolutely stunning. You can grow it indoors, or if you live in a warmer climate, you can definitely grow it outdoors. I grow mine indoors, and as you can see, it is getting really long. I have some care tips that I have learned over the years. I'm going to put my secret care tip at the very end. Stay tuned for that. Other than that, I'm going to talk about the lighting, the watering, just the general upkeep, as well as the propagation of the donkey tail plant. First of all, you want to give this plant super bright light. I keep mine under a grow light. It gets about 12 hours of light per day. You could also keep it on a sunny windowsill, or of course, if you are growing it outside, you're gonna wanna give it sun. The one thing with giving a plant full sun is you gotta make sure it doesn't overheat. This plant doesn't like to get super hot. It can get warm, but not super duper hot. So if you're growing it outside, or if you put it outside in the summer, make sure it is not getting hot to the touch. That's going to burn the roots. This is a plant where light is non-negotiable. You need to give it tons of light for it to be happy and even for it to survive for an extended amount of time. As for watering this plant, like all succulents, you do not want to overwater this plant. It is susceptible to root rot. What I do is wait until the little leaves look a little bit wrinkly. You will actually see wrinkles on the leaves. Mine doesn't need to be watered, so there are no wrinkles right now. But once you see the wrinkles, that is when you water, and you are going to water it so completely that water comes out the bottom of the pot. You want to water it thoroughly when it's thirsty. If the leaves are not wrinkly, do not water. This plant will be living, of course, on the water it can find in the soil. It can then go for a few weeks without water, and then if it still isn't watered, it's gonna start using a little bit of moisture out of the leaves, which is why the leaves get a little bit wrinkly. Wait until that time. Your plant will be so much happier and you won't run the risk of overwatering your plant. This plant is really easy to propagate. It is so happy to propagate. As you can see, there is tons of little babies growing out of this plant, and that is because I am propagating it constantly. How do I propagate it? Whenever a leaf falls off, I pop it back in the pot. It will root up and start an entirely new plant. I have given away so many baby plants of this plant because it's so easy to propagate. You can also propagate by cutting one of these longer stems, take off the leaves of the bottom, let it callus over, let it harden off, and then you can plant that right into soil. It will root up. I don't do that often because there's just so many leaves to propagate from, but you definitely can propagate from stem as well if you prefer to do that. For potting mix, you're gonna wanna use a mix that is really chunky, that does not hold on to water. That way when you water, the water just flows right through the mix, does not stick around and potentially cause root rot. You can definitely make your own mix by using regular potting soil and adding amendments like perlite or limestone or any small rock or gravel or sand. You can do that yourself, or you can just go to the garden center and buy a mix that says it is for succulents or cacti. There are a lot of different options. My favorite is this Molly's succulent mix. It is organic and it is a really good price. Any of those chunky options are going to work really well for your plant. What you don't want is to put a succulent into straight potting mix. Straight potting mix holds onto moisture and it is going to rot the roots of your plant. Now, as promised, I am going to share my #1 tip for donkey tail succulent, the tip that I tell people when they say they just can't get it to grow long, and that is don't move it a lot and don't play with it. If you have this plant, you know that anytime you move it, anytime you touch it, it will often drop 1 or 2 leaves, maybe more. So I just find a good spot for it and I do not move it. The only exception would be if I need to repot it or if I need to clean the counter underneath it. Other than that, it stays there. That way we maintain as many leaves as possible. Now, of course, remember, if you do move the plant and it drops some leaves, what are you gonna do with those leaves? You're gonna pick them up and throw them back in the pot to make new baby plants. Don't forget to do that. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, please like and subscribe. And if you're wondering how to keep your plants pest free, click on this next video. It's gonna help you out a lot.